Hey economics kiddos, this is our last video of the year. It's not a lesson. I'm not going to have any homework or any assignments. I just want to take a minute or two to thank all of you for being great students this semester. And I know this fourth 9 weeks and even part of the third, we're doing this distance learning thing. And for the most part, you guys did a really nice job. And I'm really happy and proud of you. I know I put out a lot of lessons. And as the 9 weeks went on, my lessons were getting longer and longer. I was trying to cram a lot in, but you were good sports and I appreciate that. I want to let you know that I value all of you. It was wonderful having you as students this year. And I know we don't have a last day together, but I do want you to have a really nice summer. Hopefully over the summer, things can get back to normal a little bit or something. I don't know. And then in the fall, we'll see what kind of happens in the fall. Maybe we'll be seeing each other in the fall when school starts back up. So in general, my last message before I go into some sort of housekeeping about textbooks and grades and all that stuff. I know in economics, the key concept to remember is in economics we study resources. And in economics, we study the best way to make sure the most amount of people get the most amount of utility out of what we call scarce resources in this world. And it's economists believe themselves to be some of the most important social scientists in the world because if we do it right, if we allocate resources right, then we as human beings all across the world prosper and benefit and grow. If we get the equations wrong and if we allocate resources wrong, that's when we have poverty and illness and disease. And you can even trace the coronavirus back. If I know some people think it was made in a lab in Wuhan. There's nothing that really shows that. But worst case, if it was not created in a lab in Wuhan, what it's looking like is it came from, what are called, I think, soft markets for food, where people, buy and eat all sorts of odd things like bats. And part of the reason they do that is that they live in poverty. So if we don't allocate resources well, and if we have large sections of our country and our world in poverty, in a sports talk, it's the saying is you're only as strong as your weakest link. And if we have too much poverty in this world, we can be as wealthy as we want to be in America, but if people live in poverty in China, they're going to make decisions that are best for them in the moment, like buying and eating bats, that are going to maybe have ramifications. And we have things like that here in America. We have, our pigs and our cows. They live in not in every single slaughterhouse and every single uh, pig farm and agricultural site, but they live in some pretty filthy conditions so that we can have cheap food. And that can also create viruses like it has in the past. So again, economics, it's really important and it's everywhere. Resources affect all of us. We all need resources to survive, and all of us are actually resources in and of ourselves. The last message I want to leave on before I just do a couple housekeeping items. There was a lesson during the fourth 9 weeks, and I do this every time with economic students, and I questioned whether or not to do it with everything going on because everything is so fresh, and emotions, whether you realize it or not, emotions are very real right now and very just easily easy to access, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. And and the idea, we had a lesson about how much is a human life worth, and the government says about $3 million. All right, and economists, it's important for the government to estimate that so they know how much to regulate certain businesses. It doesn't make a lot of sense for the government to implement trillions of dollars of regulations if it's only going to save 5 or 6 lives in the long run. But the idea of the value of a human life is very tricky. Um, when we talk about the value of a human life in aggregate and on average, how much does society value an average human life? That's important information. But I think what's more important to realize is that there is no such thing as an average human life. You're not an average human life. I'm not an average human life. We are all exceptionally valuable. And I want you to know that. I want you to take that away. How do you really place a value amount on being a good neighbor? How do you place a value amount on being a good person, being a good friend? How do you put a price tag on that? I know how to put a price tag on the value of one's labor, but on being a human, what does it mean to have value and worth as a human being? And In our country, we believe that all people are created equal and that they have certain rights. And essentially, that means that we all have a certain value, an inalienable value. And so those are the struggles that we have to come up with in economics. How do we make sure we put a value on every human being? And what worries me right now is we're talking about reopening the economy, and you hear people say, well, this is only killing old people, or this is only going to affect, certain populations of people. And so it's worth it to open the economy because we're only sacrificing the people who are already old anyway. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad economic argument, but what I am saying is let's not be so cavalier with human life. Um, every life is important, and this is tough. We've gone there. This coronavirus has hurt about 100,000 Americans. I'm sorry, a million Americans. No, 100,000. Yeah, about 100,000 Americans, and that's a huge number. And let's not. Become numb to that number. Just know when we think about resources and human beings, value each other. Don't write off any person, whether they're old, young, no matter what their gender is, their skin color, their religion, what have you. Everybody has value, and let's not lose touch of that humanity and lose touch of that value, because at the end of the day, no matter how you think about it economically, economics is a study of resources to allocate and to help every human being. All right, not just to have stock market numbers that reach a certain point. And I'm not saying we shouldn't be reopening. I'm not saying we should, but let's keep in mind, treat each other humanely, see the value in each other, believe in each other. We've lost that a little bit in our country for whatever reason. We value some people way more than we value others, and I'm guilty of that too. And we should not do that. So anyway, um, that's it. I value you. I hope you value yourself, and I hope that you value yourself enough to make good decisions and have a great summer. And yeah, if you need anything, I don't check my emails a lot over the summer, especially this summer. Um, I will check occasionally. You can reach out, but don't expect immediate um, feedback from me. But that's nothing new. You're kind of used to that with me, I guess. I don't know. All right, so two quick things. First things first, um, Mr. Packard sent out an email about a new grading policy where nobody this is only for the fourth 9 weeks, mind you. You will have a choice on whether or not you want a letter grade or whether or not you would rather take what's called an S, meaning satisfactory, for each class. So for my class, as long as you have about half of your assignments done, your letter grade's going to be fine. All right, so if you've done at least half of the assignments, and I think that's like 7 or 8 for the fourth 9 weeks, especially if you have your bare minimum assignment done, you're going to be fine. Take the letter grade. All right, if you haven't done like more than 3 or 4 assignments, you're probably going to get an IE unless we've worked something else out. Like you've emailed me and we've had some communications about things. An IE is not an F, it just means you don't get credit for the class. It won't hurt your GPA, but it essentially means insufficient evidence, that I don't have enough evidence for the fourth 9 weeks, not the class, I'm sorry, for the fourth 9 weeks to give you a letter grade for the fourth 9 weeks. But so if you haven't done any assignment, you're probably going to get an IE. If you've done at least half of your assignments with your bare minimum assignment, take the letter grade. If you're somewhere in between that, it's up to you. I'm not going to nail you on your letter grades. As long as you've done a little bit and have tried and have reached out to me, you're probably not going to get a worse grade than you got for your third 9 weeks. And in terms of your final grade, because of the way everything went down, the third 9 weeks has so many points compared to the fourth 9 weeks. The fourth 9 weeks will help your grades if you did well. If you didn't do well, it won't really hurt your final grade. But your final grade is going to be really heavy on third 9 weeks points. All right, so just keep that in mind. So long story short, if you're deciding whether to take the letter grade or the take an S for the fourth 9 weeks. Again, as long as you've done about over half of your assignments, take the letter grade. Even if you didn't do great on all the assignments, and even if you didn't get every single assignment done, I'm not going to really hammer you that hard. Um, if if you haven't done very many assignments and you don't want to risk it, you can go ahead and take an S, and that just sort of gives you a credit that says you passed the fourth 9 weeks, um, and it won't go into your fourth 9 weeks GPA that way. And then the only other thing, as you go into your progress book, if you want to see what assignments that are outstanding, and I will get those updated here soon. I'm really, really sorry they aren't completely updated right now. I'll send out a reminder that lets you know when I have grades completely updated here on Tuesday. All of your assignments can be found right here. These in your um, Google Class under the assignments link or tab right here. You can also find them on the website that I created. There's a specific place for your assignments that is essentially the exact same thing as this. Um, and you can find it also on the website. If you go, every teacher has their own little site that has um, the different their particular format for distance learning. So if you have any questions, if you want to get some assignments done this week, feel free. Grades are open all the way through Friday. If you have confusion about you thought you did something, send me an email and we'll figure that out. And yeah, that's about it. The only other thing is you're turning in your textbooks today, Tuesday, May 26th. So when you turn your textbooks in, ideally, if you could write on a scrap sheet of paper, Mr. Court's class or Mr. Court's book, and put it on the inside of the front cover, it helps us separate it a little bit better as we're going through them. If you don't, we'll get it figured out. It'll just take us a little bit longer, and I will look at it, and once I figure out it's your book, I'll think a mean thing about you, but then I'll get over it really quickly and say, oh, well, I really don't care. We'll be fine. So, but if you can, please remember to put your name on a scrap sheet of paper on the inside of your text. And that's really about it. All right, so like I said, as long as you've been communicating with me, been getting most of your assignments done, and if you haven't been communicating with me but have been doing all your assignments, take the letter grade. If you have pretty much more than half of your assignments done, especially as long as you did the bare minimum assignment, take the letter grade for the fourth 9 weeks. I'm not going to hammer you guys. If you really haven't done very much at all and you have a question, just shoot me an email. And to be honest, I don't understand the idea of an S for the fourth 9 weeks, other than if you were going to get a super low letter grade. That's the only time. If you're going to get a D or even a C for the fourth 9 weeks. Even a C, though, the only way, I don't know, whatever. But you do what you feel comfortable with. I recommend, when in doubt, take the letter grade. I'm not going to hammer you. And if you really have not done anything at all, just email me and say, listen, what are we going to do here? And we'll get it figured out. All right. So that's it. I hope you have a wonderful summer. I really, really do. I hope things are going well. And I know things are not easy. For some of us, are a lot easier than others. For some people, this has been very, very, very difficult and very trying. For other people, this is right in their wheelhouse. They don't really enjoy going to school that much, and they really like the online experience. And there are a lot of people in between. But for all of us, this has been a challenge, whether we realize it or not. And I hope you're taking care of yourselves, get enough sleep, eat healthy. When you get a chance, get a little bit of exercise. I need to work on that too. All right, everyone. I really, really miss you. I hope you have a great summer. Um, and yeah, uh, that's it. See you later, guys and girls.